Yeah, so we're going to record a video here in complete darkness because I believe that the human race is generally in complete darkness when it comes to understanding how their feelings affect their lives. And so feelings are powerful devices within our lives. They're part of our soul, if you will. Our soul, of course, is made up of our will and our intellect and our emotions. And so the feelings are part of our emotional side of things generally. Just to give you an example, the real us is inside of our body. I can cut off your arms and legs and you're still you. You just have less of a body to other people. But you're looking out of the windows of your eyes, or your soul is contained within the suitcase of your body. And so most people don't understand that. They don't understand that your feelings such as stress or anxiety can change your physical body. They can turn off digestive processes. They can turn off reproductive organs. They can do many different things to your body as well as to the world around us. It's a very powerful thing when you tap into your soul. And obviously from a Christian's perspective, we believe that's part of the creation process, that God made us with these abilities, with the ability to overcome, to manage the world around us for the kingdom of God, if you will. And so here we are with our feelings, generally letting them rule us when we are supposed to be ruling them and using them as tools in this world. Well, a English teacher, I believe by the name of Caitlin Robbs, recently put out a chart or a list talking about all of the feelings that generally exist in the human soul. And not only did she put out this list, but she put it out in a way that talked about where the root of those feelings went. So, for instance, the feeling of being ridiculed, or the act of being ridiculed that is a feeling in some cases, has its roots in being humiliated, which has its roots in fear. And so disrespected has its roots in being humiliated, and goes back to fear. And all of these will go back to fear until I change this in just a moment. Feeling alienated goes back to being rejected, which goes back to fear. Inadequacy, or feeling inadequate, goes to being rejected. Insignificance goes back to being submissive. Feeling worthless goes back to being submissive. Feeling inferior goes back to being insecure. And inadequate, again, can also go back to being insecure. You'll see that there's some doubling up here of some of these feelings. And so feeling worried can go to being anxious, which again goes to fear. Being overwhelmed goes to anxious. Being frightened goes to being scared, which goes to fear. And of course, terrified goes to scared, which goes to fear. Now, that's a very common thing, frightened or terrified, going to scared, going to fear. We all understand that. We've all been scared at some point or another. So now we go into a different area, which is has its roots in feeling surprised. And so you can be shocked or dismayed, and that's part of being startled, which goes to surprise. You can be disillusioned or perplexed, which goes to confused. And of course that goes to surprised. You can be astonished or in awe, which goes to being amazed. You could be eager and energetic, which goes to excited, and that goes to surprise. Now we cross over into the root happy. You feel happy. And so you can be liberated or ecstatic, and that goes back to being joyful, which goes back to being happy. You can be amused or inquisitive, which goes to being interested. You can go to important or confident in your feelings, which goes back to proud or happiness. You can feel respected or fulfilled, which goes to being accepted, which goes back to being happy. You could be provocative or courageous in your feelings, and that goes back to feeling powerful, which makes us feel happy. Hopeful or loving feelings go back to peaceful feelings, which make us, again, happy. Playful and sensitive feelings go to intimacy, or feeling intimate. Inspired and feeling open goes to optimistic, which is happy. And now we start getting into some of the other negative things again. So feeling apathetic or indifferent takes us to feeling bored, which takes us to feeling sad. The root feeling is sad or sadness. Feeling inferior or empty makes us feel depressed, which goes to sad. Abandoned and isolated feelings make us feel lonely, which take us to sad. And powerless and vulnerable feelings take us to despair. ignored or victimized. You feel ignored or you feel victimized takes you to feeling abandoned. When you feel abandoned, you feel sad. And of course, remorseful or feeling ashamed takes us to feeling guilty, which takes us to feeling sad. Now, there is a difference between guilt and shame, of course. Guilt is how we feel when we did something wrong and we take responsibility for it. And shame is us feeling with our head down. We can't face those around us. It's different than guilt. You could be guilty and proud. You can be shameful and not take responsibility. But ultimately, shame goes to guilt, goes to sadness. And so as we continue, the next root would be disgust. And so aversion or feeling hesitant goes to avoidance, which goes to disgust. Revulsion or detestable feelings go to feeling awful, which go to disgust. Repugnant feelings or feeling revolted go to disappointment, and that goes to disgust, of course. And finally, feeling judgmental or loathing goes to disapproval, which goes to disgust. And finally, we get into one of the largest sections of our feelings that most people would experience almost on a daily basis. Feeling offended or so, or feeling anger is the root. And so we start off with essentially feeling skeptical or sarcastic. And those are rooted in anger because they go through feeling critical. If you're skeptical, you're critical, and then you're angry. If you're sarcastic, you're critical, and the root is in anger. That is why we try to avoid those things, of course. Feeling withdrawn or suspicious has to do with distant feelings, which goes to anger. Feeling infuriated or irritated, wow, my pronunciation there was awesome, goes to feeling frustrated or angry. Feeling provoked or hostile goes to feeling aggressive, which again goes to angry. Feeling enraged or furious goes to being mad, which goes to anger. Feeling violated or resentful goes to hatefulness, and that goes to anger. Feeling jealous or insecure makes you feel threatened, which goes to anger. And feeling devastated or embarrassed goes to you feeling hurt or, again, angry. And of course, hurt is the same as offended in some cases. So I just want to focus on one area, which is anger. And I want to say that being unoffendable means never having to be angry about something. See, we can't change a lot of things in our life through anger. We change it through action. We change it through love. We change it through other things. But feeling offended generally doesn't change things. All it does is tie us up and hurt us. And remember, your feelings affect the physical world around you, including your health and your body. So while we're in the dark here, try to open your eyes and understand feelings. It can change your life. God bless you. Have a great day.